Star FM.
We started writing for both new records, Volume 1 and Volume 2, when we got off the road at the end of April in 2015. And we knew at the time that we were going to be writing a double record, so we knew we had a huge task ahead of us. So as soon as we got off the road, we started writing, and for the better part of 9 months, we wrote and recorded and wrote and recorded, and it took us 9 months to make both records.
Those 19 shows, I mean, inspired us in a lot of ways because, first of all, we let the fans pick the set. And it was the first time we got to headline, so we get to play, you know, over an hour and a half. And there was a lot of songs that were picked that we were surprised by, like Relief off of Modern Vintage and Goodbye My Friends, Live Forever. Of course, like the hits and stuff, and then some other songs like Skin. You know, it was like and so we got out and we played and we saw this connection with the music, a direct connection with the fans. And you know, we were so inspired by the reaction that we got. We said, you know, we need to make an album that is like guitar driven, meant to be played live. And, you know, we set the task to be a double record, not to be just one record. We knew that we wanted to write 2 albums that were equally as good. We didn't want to do, I know what you're doing over there. We didn't want to do, like, record, like, enough music for an album and a half and then flesh out a few songs and call it a double record. I think double records have kind of a bad name and a lot of times. And these are 2 separate records, even though they do come in Volume 1 and Volume 2, and they do belong together in a lot of ways. So there you go.
Yeah, our songwriting definitely evolves with every record. I think that you could very easily say that we have found our sweet spot as songwriters together and as music partners. You know, a few things happened during the Modern Vintage tour, but I think one of the most profound things was that we all at that point decided that we were going to really commit to a future with 6 AM. And that was an exciting turning point for us. We had already, you know, over the years developed quite a strong bond as far as songwriters go, but just knowing that you actually have a future and knowing that you are going to be touring, it really changed the dynamic. It changed the energy. I feel like in a lot of ways, we felt like we were making our first record. Ever since we did the Heroin Diary soundtrack, 6 AM has really had a fascination with this balance between beauty and darkness, this balance between good and evil, and that struggle that happens right there in the center. And I think that we really pushed that idea on both of these new records.
And the world is in the shape it's in. You know, I mean, look around us. It's you know, people are running scared. People are getting their heads chopped off. I mean, it's crazy times right now. You know, so it's kind of you know, reflects that a bit, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's no denying that right now, globally, there's a sense of crisis. And I think that speaks to our very first single off of this record called Rise, which really addresses that. You know, we're not a political band by any stretch of the imagination, but we are certainly a very socially conscious band. You know, things that matter to us on a personal level are happening on a global level. And we found that during the writing of both of these records and the recording of these records, we were so inundated by things going on around the world that really, you know, require some attention. And I think it's safe to say that you know, the world feels kind of wounded right now and is in need of repair. And Rise really is talking about how this is a crucial time for us to set our differences aside and come together and rise up and try to and try to start changing things for the better. I mean, you look at what's going on in the United States right now. It's an election year, and it is probably the most vicious, loudest, most aggressive election year any of us have ever experienced in our lifetimes. And there's a reason for that. People feel desperate. People feel scared. People feel angry. People are dissatisfied with leadership. And so you cannot, if you're an artist, you cannot be creating art and just ignore that element to it. Prayers for the Damned is a unique song, and it's a unique title because it really gets right to the heart of that. It deals with that struggle between good and evil on a very personal level, and it also deals with it on a very global level. And I think that I think it's going to connect with people on a number of different levels because of that. Well, you know, that's a good question. Things happen in the 6 a.m. creating world, some things by accident, but they're also very intentional, you know? So even those little accidents that happen every once in a while that turn into something special, we have a very, very clear intention, no matter what it is that we're writing. And I think that that's been the case from the beginning. Messages in 6 a.m. are extremely important, and I believe that's why we have connected with people in a different way than most bands do.
And we hear it from our fans too, which is inspirational to us. We know we're not just writing just songs. You know, we're writing little prayers for everybody. We're writing messages of hope, but to get to the hope. For some reason, in our way of writing, musically and lyrically and melodically, we need to go through the darkness to get to it. I don't think that we would find it very inspirational to just write just a happy song. I think we want to get happy, but we got to go through something to get there. And I think that people relate to that because life is not just all good. It's not just white walls and white picket fences and a perfect little life. We're not living in that world right now, but we want to get there.